Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Coronavirus in the Independent Retailer Podcast. What I had hoped would be the shortest podcast in the history of podcasts is not appearing, is not working out the way that I had hoped. We're here in Michigan. We're here in the home studio. My production crew, Susan and our two boys. We're in lockdown like a lot of the country, and this shit's getting tiring, isn't it? I mean, my brain feels like mush. I don't know if it's happening to you, but I'm gathering from the comments on the WhizBang retailers page that there's a lot of this sort of low-level exhaustion setting in. And I just want to say to you, it's okay. How you're feeling is absolutely natural. Give yourself a break if you're feeling that way. Give yourself a break mentally and give yourself a break. Forgive yourself. Be gentle on yourself. But I also want to say congratulations. There was a big thread on people who are setting up Shopify accounts and making things happen. You know, that's the name of the game. Respond to stress with action. Make something go. Do something. Feel better about yourself. Whenever you start to catch yourself getting into that spiral of anxiety and anxiousness, maybe you shut down. Maybe that's one of the ways that you deal with stress. Find something to do. Find something to do. So congratulations to everybody who is taking action. So today I want to talk to you about managing your cash. And really what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you a strategy that Rich Rose shared with all of us in an interview I did last week. And I would encourage you, if you haven't listened to that interview, I would encourage you to go and listen to that interview. He gives a much more thorough treatment that I'm going to give you today, but I'm going to share with you the essence of the strategy. So here it is in a nutshell. The first thing to do, step number one, is get a handle on your weekly nut. I mean, how much do you spend every week? Just get a feeling. I mean, get a number so that, so you have some truth to start with, right? It goes back to this whole every step, every action gives you momentum. So that's the first thing. And you may not like the number, but that's okay. That number is the truth, right? So that's the first step. Get that number. The second step then is to build out an 8-week cash flow based on that number. Third step is to look through that whole list of expenses and say, what can I put off? Who can I talk to? What can I do? Can I talk to my landlord? Can I talk to my credit card vendors? A lot of states are giving forgiveness, not forgiveness, but are deferring tax payments. A lot of credit cards are doing deferments. So look at that list of expenses and say, what can I do? Who can I talk to? How can I stretch the cash out? Right now, cash flow is the name of the game. Holding on to your cash is the name of the game. Once you've done that, then it's time to, once you've sort of taken a look at your fixed costs, now it's time to take a look at your vendors. And this is where it gets so tricky. You know, if you've been part of our community for a while, if you've been listening to this podcast, if you've been if you've participated in any of our community forums, you know that I tell the story. I've been through this. I've been in a business that was in crisis mode. And one of the hardest things to do is to talk to or not pay your vendors who also happen to be your friends. It's difficult. When I was in the kite business, I mean, I knew all of these people, right? We went to kite festivals. It was a small, tight-knit industry, and it was incredibly difficult. But it's what needs to be done. It's what needs to be done. You need to communicate with all of these people. You need to find out what you can do to stretch out money. And then you also need to make some hard choices. So what Rich recommends is that you create a list of A, B, and C vendors. A vendors are the vendors that you need to do business with. This is going to end. It is going to end. Who do you need when this is done? Those are your A vendors. Your B vendors are the people who you'd like to have as vendors, and it's good to have as vendors. They're important but not critical to the long-term success of your business. C vendors are those people you might have given a try to. You know who I'm talking about, the people who aren't being very cooperative right now, who you just don't really care that much about. And then the name of the game is to keep your A vendors happy, keep your B vendors kind of happy, and then your C vendors are just going to have to wait. And so when we went through this whole thing, here's what we did. I mean, we just called everybody and said, look, here's what we're trying to do. We're going to make you whole. We are going to make it through this, but there's no money right now. There is no money right now. So A vendors, we worked something out. Some of them we did COD plus $100. Some of them we put on a payment plan, but we kept them as happy as we could. B vendors, sort of the same thing. You know, we really worked to cooperate. The C vendors, they were kind of out of luck, and I felt terrible about it, and we eventually did make them whole, but at the end of the day, it's about conserving your cash. Let's just recognize this. If you try to keep everybody happy, you're not going to keep anybody happy. That was one of the most important lessons I learned when we went through the crisis. So what you have to do is you have to sit down and engage in some seriously accurate thinking, make some difficult choices, and start to work your plan. Make your plan based on what I just shared with you and work your plan. It is going to be uncomfortable. Believe me, I know. But it's part of what needs to be done right now. Get on it. Remember, I think it was on Thursday or Friday, I talked about chunking work. Maybe it was yesterday. It's all starting to blend into each other. But chunking work in the Mark Twain quote, I hope I'm getting this right, but if you eat a frog in the morning, the rest of your day seems all right. So make this plan. Making this plan is not going to be a comfortable exercise, but it's an important exercise. It's part of your maturation into being a crisis manager. So make this plan, figure out who you're going to talk to, make that, put that chunk of unpleasant work on the schedule and get it done. One of the hardest things to do in a situation like this is to do the work that you've never had to do before. Call the vendors who you're used to paying on time and telling them you're not going to be able to. Telling your landlord who's not being cooperative, well, guess what? I'm going to send you half of our rent this month, and if you need to kick me out, go ahead. I don't know what you need to do, but I do know that this is going to make you a stronger, more resilient business person. This is all about the other side. 3 weeks ago, I wouldn't have said that. 3 weeks ago, I would have said, I really hope this is going to be a short-lived. Doesn't it seem quaint when all we were worrying about was supply chain disruptions? It seems like forever ago. Now what we're worried about is, something much bigger and much, much more severe. So let's just recognize that this is a difficult time. And right now, we are sort of, as business people, on sort of a wartime footing, for lack of a better term. So the name of the game is to make the decisions you need to make now. The difficult decisions you need to make now. Get to work on it. This is a long-term gain with a short-term objective. The short-term objective is to make your plan and work the plan. The short-term objective is to open your store today or get online today or do something today that will help you get through to the other side. You've got this. We've got this. We're all in this together. It is, like I said, this shit is exhausting. It is exhausting for me. I know it's exhausting for you, but we're going to be all right. We are going to be all right. So a couple of other things. WhizBang Retailers, that page is filled with lots and lots and lots of information, stuff. There has been a lot of threads built around my state is doing that. My state is doing this. Can I do this? Can I do that? There have been a couple of requests from people asking me what I think about the Michigan lockdown. And here's my response. I don't feel comfortable giving you, for lack of a better term, legal advice. I would recommend for all of you, get in touch with your state agency. While WhizBang Retailers is filled with lots and lots of really smart people, this is a different kind of advice. So I would encourage you to go to your state and, get the information from the horse's mouth. Or go to your lawyer and talk to your lawyer. Hearsay on WhizBang Retailers, I don't know if that's the best advice that you could possibly get. The second thing, again, I am so appreciative of everybody who is on WhizBang Retailers, who is all of the support that we're showing each other. But there's a lot of information. There's a lot of stuff going on. So what we've done here at WhizBang Retail Training is we put everything that we're creating for you on one page. So that is this daily podcast. That is the weekly community forums. Those are any interviews that we're doing. And is there anything that I'm missing, honey?
The special interviews. No, I think that's it.
And speaking of special interviews, I do have... The report? Yeah, that's good. Speaking of special interviews, I do have a call in, and I'm working on scheduling a time with Eric Seifert. Eric Seifert is an SBA specialist, and he's doing lots and lots and lots of works right now with disaster loans. So I'm hoping to get an interview with him in the next couple of days, and as soon as that is done, you will get access to it. But going back to what I was sharing earlier, you can get everything on one page, and that page is whizbangtraining.com/coronavirus. Coronavirus. So you don't have to sort of scroll through to find everything. So the other thing that's happening today at 1 o'clock, if you're not sick of me yet, today at 1 o'clock is a community forum. That is your opportunity to ask questions of both Susan and I. The reason I'm looking over my shoulder is Susan is sitting there right now. So we will be taking questions. We will be sharing what we know, the insights that we have. We'll be there to support you. So that happens at 1 o'clock here on the WhizBang Training Facebook page. It is a Facebook Live event. And then at 3 o'clock is a meeting of the Retail Marketing Club. So I think this is a super important meeting because we're all talking about marketing. We're all talking about strategies for this, brand new world, but it hasn't been sort of wrapped up and put into a structure, put into a system. And so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to take the WhizBang Retail Marketing System and I'm going to coronavirus it up, for lack of a better term. So at the end of this meeting, you will see the WhizBang Retail Marketing System at play in action with coronavirus-specific strategies. So that is not a free event. That is only for members of the WhizBang Retail Marketing Club, but it's only $29 to join. So I know some of you are in the spend no money mode, and I get that, but this is $29 that will come back to you in spades, in a hurry, probably in one transaction. So if you go to WhizBangTraining.com, in the primary navigation, there is a tab called Products. Go down. It's only $29 to join, and you can cancel at any time. This is an incredibly worthwhile investment. So Susan and I have a big day today. Big day, big day, big day. Big day, excuse me. I was up in the middle of the night last night. That's what I mean. This is tiring, isn't it? I don't know about you, but I'm not sleeping as well as I like to. And you know how there's this old saying that the cobbler's children have no shoes? Well, last week I was encouraging all of you to find a new normal and get back into a routine that really serves you well. I haven't done it yet, but last night in the middle of the night, I was saying, I got to start practicing what I preach. So anyway, thank you again for being here. I pray that you find value in this. If there is anything that Susan or I or the WhizBang retail training team can do for you, please don't hesitate to let us know. We're all in this together. All right, everybody, I'm Bob Nagin. This is the Coronavirus and Independent Retail Podcast. I hope to see you again tomorrow.